Hi guys, and welcome to another one of my coffee chat videos. These videos are where I kind of look at everything that's new and releasing out there in the beauty community, talk about if I'm interested in purchasing it, why or why not, and just kind of give you a roundup of everything I'm seeing out there and whether or not it's catching my eye. I link this as part of Samantha March's Will I Buy It community series that she has out there. I always link that down below, so if you're looking to find other content creators kind of like myself talking about what's coming out and sharing our thoughts on it, definitely that is a great place to start. I found some fantastic new smaller channels out there through that, so highly recommend checking that out. There's a lot of new and exciting products that I have kind of flagged through Instagram that I want to chat with you guys today about. Before we get into that though, I did want to call out, I use a number of different Instagram accounts to kind of pull together this information. I think a lot of you guys are familiar with Trend Mood, but there's a lot of other beauty news reporting style Instagram accounts out there that are fantastic. I always link those down below and try to give credit as I show you images up here on the screen, but these are definitely the people that I'm following to kind of see what's new in beauty. I just like to call that out so you guys can follow and find this information out on Instagram as well. All right, without further ado, let's get into today's coffee chat. It is hot as blazes outside today, so we have gone with the iced coffee because I really want it to be fall. Can we just pause and talk about how much I want it to be fall right now? Like, I'm done with feeling hot and sweaty. I really would like some nice, cool, crisp air and some comfy sweaters and some socks and boots. Like, I'm there. Fall is my favorite season and I'm all for it at this point. And the weather in Ohio is just not following along. So unfortunately, I'm dealing with like sweltering temperatures. So if I look kind of nasty and hot and sweaty, I apologize. I've tried to like turn the air conditioning down in my house like 1,000 degrees, get iced coffee, pull my hair up in a giant bun to keep myself from like dying. I am definitely a fall girl. I am done with this summer nonsense. Anyway, tangent and a half, let's get started talking about some of the new releases. First up, let's talk about Charlotte Tilbury. I have a not so secret affinity for Charlotte Tilbury and everything that she does. I really love her products. I love her aesthetic. I love her packaging. I love the way she applies makeup as a makeup artist. I love the clients that she follows. I love that she shows how to do makeup on people in their 20s, and then she has clients that are in her 50s and 60s that are just absolutely stunning. I mean, the woman is a brilliant makeup artist, and quite frankly, I love a good deal of her products. So when she's launching new products, I sit up and pay attention. So there's a handful of products that kind of are coming out on the market here soon, and then there's a few that have already been released. So let's go through these kind of one by one. Up first is her Genius Magic Setting Powder. This retails for $45. Gasp. All right, moving on. There are 3 shades, fair, medium, and dark. So you've got a pinker, a yellow, and a deeper undertone. It says it's a soft focusing, light diffusing, loose powder. It is also talc free. This is exclusive to Nordstrom, so you're not going to be able to find it at Sephora, even though Sephora has picked up Charlotte Tilbury recently, which is very exciting. I do think we're going to see her new releases probably be exclusive to Nordstrom for a little while, and then work their ways to maybe Beautylish and or Sephora. Nordstrom was the retailer that she kind of chose as her US retailer of choice, so I certainly understand her wanting to support them as she releases new product. I really wish I could tell you I wasn't interested in this, but I really am. So I've talked on my channel several times about how I like talc-free products. I just find that they're not as drying on my skin. They tend to be a little more smoothing and just don't leave my skin feeling so parched the way that a lot of talc products can. Not all. Sometimes if you have talc cut with like 3 or 4 different other types of powders, I'm okay and it blends all together and it's fine, but ones where talc is very high up on the list or it is the primary powder source, I tend not to like those as much. So when I heard this was talc free, I was super interested. The whole idea of soft focusing, light diffusing, that all sounds like things that I absolutely love all over my skin. I do want to check and see how much powder is in here in comparison to other powder products. Give me a half second. Okay, so there's just no getting around the fact that this is an expensive powder. So you're getting 0.45 ounces for $45 just as a comparable kind of powder. I looked at the Laura Mercier powder, that's $38, but you're getting a whole ounce of product in there. So I would put Charlotte Tilbury in the luxury makeup category. So I do know that there is a premium attached to her products. So here's what it says. It says it blurs, visibly reduces dark shadows and boosts radiance while helping to mattify and smooth the appearance of skin. It's an ethereal veil of youth that sets makeup, illuminates, and adds a textured look to the skin. I don't know what that means. It's formulated with Face Blur Veggie Powder, which is made from an alternative to talc that absorbs excess oil from the skin, creating a matte appearance. Biomimetic, that's an interesting word. Silky mica creates natural opacity with a brightening radiant effect to instantly create a youthful look. The mica is treated with amino acids that contribute to give a gorgeous silky skin-like feel. Spherical silica, a sebum absorber, mattifies and reduces shine and reflects light for soft filter effect. While Sabuki oil, a traditional nourishing Japanese oil with silky creamy texture, acts like a fast absorbing moisturizer, nourishing and softening the skin while promoting bounce. Squalane, a natural olive oil derivative, wonderfully moisturizes and is a source of fatty acids and antioxidants that help condition and soften the skin, treated with pigments to provide added creaminess and adhesion, helping you achieve the perfect coverage. Does that not just sound lovely? It sounds lovely to me. I ended up with a whole bunch of Nordstrom points after coming off of the anniversary sale that have now been converted into Nordstrom dollars or whatever it is they call it. So I'm sitting on this like pool of Nordstrom dollars to redeem, and I kind of feel like this is going to be one of those things that ends up coming home with me. Watch me get suckered in. The other thing that's been launched that's also exclusive on Nordstrom right now is her Magic Away Concealer. Comes in 16 shades. It says it goes on like fresh skin, creating the look of smooth and retextured complexion. This retails for $38, so also kind of pricey, but it says this elastic stretch formula makes your skin look practically poreless, delivering full coverage inspired by airbrush techniques, long-lasting up to 15 hours. It's water-resistant and reduces the appearance of dark circles, pigmentation, redness, blemishes, and imperfections while creating the appearance of firmer and lifted skin. I kind of feel like I want to try this too. I am always on the prowl for a good concealer. I do have things I want to cover up underneath my eyes, but I definitely want to do that without making my under eyes look dry or textured or a lot older than they do without the concealer on there. So that is kind of always the rub. I kind of want to try this. I feel like there's probably, I don't know, I really wish I could go see these in stores. I will probably order shade 2 just because I think it's going to be the closest to what I need, but I do feel like this is a concealer that I want to try at some point. And then last from Charlotte Tilbury, we don't know exactly when this is going to launch, but Wayne Goss put a photo out there on his Instagram and I got super excited. A few coffee chats ago, you may have heard me mention that Charlotte Tilbury was going to be doing a Pillow Talk collection. It now appears that it's going to be a blush and a little eyeshadow quad. So we don't know what the prices of these are going to be. I'm going to assume that they're going to be comparable to the current products she has out on the market, which would make the blush $40 and the little eyeshadow quad $53. So once again, we're talking very high-end luxury type products here. I will say I think these both look beautiful. So I do own one blush from her and I do really, really like it. It's very easy to blend onto the skin. I like that you've got the two tones there. The idea is that the center part that's lighter is supposed to go on the apples of your cheek, and then the darker color is supposed to go further back to kind of give you a more youthful, lifted look. The eyeshadow quads I have never tried. To be totally honest, I had swatched these in stores when I was out in Phoenix, and I was kind of unimpressed with how they felt, at least swatching. So for $53, I could never bring myself to try one of her quads. But for me, as I look at this little quad, I kind of think it looks phenomenal. I love that you've got two matte shades, you've got a more metallic, and then you've got a satin. So I think these are really pretty, and this may be the first quad that I purchase as well. These do launch on September 6th, so this next week. I'm assuming they're going to launch first on her website and then maybe out to Nordstrom. I'm not entirely sure. We haven't seen an announcement for that. But oh man, don't these look beautiful? All right, so from something very expensive, let's move to something more affordable so our pocketbooks can take a breather. This is from e.l.f. So this is the Opposites Attract eyeshadow palette. It's going to retail for $14. It's going to be available on September 5th on the e.l.f. website. It comes with 18 cool and warm shades. I've also seen posts out there saying this is a new formula for e.l.f., so I'm also very curious. Their large compact eyeshadows are ones that I've never personally liked. I feel like when they get into those bigger palettes, the formulas weren't as good. This one looks amazing. So the whole left side of the palette is warm colors and mustards and peaches, and then the right side of the palette is cool tones and purples and taupes. I just think this looks really cool. The whole opposites attract, warm and cool in one palette. I like pairing warm and cool together, but I love this idea of having a balance of warm and cool in one palette. The packaging also looks like it's going to be new for e.l.f. You can see in this next picture here that it's going to have a clear lid so you can see the shades very easily. I like that. And then we've seen just a handful of swatches at this point. I'm really excited, and I do fully intend to pick this up, and I will probably put some swatches out on Instagram as soon as it arrives here, and then we'll talk about this as part of my fall drugstore roundup, and this is obviously a brand new product for e.l.f. So this is definitely on my radar to pick up this week. Okay, so one product that I have seen kind of talked about the last couple of weeks out there on Instagram, and now we finally have some swatches of it, is from Hourglass. So this is their new Ambient Edit palette. I don't know exactly what the price is going to be. Knowing Hourglass, it's probably going to be fairly pricey, and it's supposed to come out here, I'm guessing for holiday, which means that it's probably going to come out in September, because that seems to be when all the holiday stuff comes out nowadays. What's caught my eye about this is that it appeared to be new formulas. So whereas past holiday palettes have just had smaller versions of products that they already carry full size, this was advertised as never before seen natural tones. And if we look at the next pictures, you can kind of see more close-up shots here. It appears we've got some bronzers, some highlighters, some soft diffusing powder, some blushes. Like, it looks like a beautiful complement of bronzers, blushes, and a highlight. I typically know that these Hourglass palettes like this are a bit of a ripoff. You're paying so much more at a price per ounce perspective than if you buy the full size. But to be honest, because this is a new formula, because these are new colors, I do kind of have my eye on this one. And this may be one that I wait until the next Sephora sale to pick up, when I can get 20% off of it. But I'm definitely have this on my radar. All right, so now let's move on to some Urban Decay palettes. So I've seen two pop up very unexpectedly. So the first is the Urban Decay Naked Cherry palette. I didn't see this one coming. I watched the whole funeral process for the original Urban Decay Naked palette with some amusement, and actually did purchase a backup myself when it went half off, because I realized just how old my palette was. It was an original, and it's what I wore on my wedding day. I have very fond memories of that palette, and quite frankly, even if they redo it, even if they come out with a new released Naked palette with all those same colors, just in different packaging, I don't know, something about that original Naked palette will always have a sentimental place in my heart. So I kind of was anticipating that's what we were going to see next from Urban Decay, was kind of a relaunch of the original Urban Decay palette. So Urban Decay Naked Cherry completely caught me off guard. So I think this is a beautiful palette. I personally skipped out on the Naked Heat palette. I felt like it looked very monotone, so when I swatched it in store, I realized I had a lot of mid-tone shades that looked really, really similar to one another. I had a couple of light shades and a couple of dark shades, and as I swatched them all on my arm, I realized I was going to get a lot of the same looks. And I watched a lot of reviews saying that the palette, from a quality perspective, was amazing, but a lot of people said exactly that they felt like it was very one-dimensional. They only got a couple of looks from it. I know a lot of people absolutely love that palette, but when I kind of evaluated, did I need it in my life, I ultimately came to the conclusion that no, I didn't. Naked Cherry, I think I'm here for. So we have some swatches now. You can see we've got a nice blend of shimmers and mattes. You've got more mattes than shimmers. You've got a full gradient of colors from light to dark with good midtones and transition shades and different fun colors for the lid. I look at this and I think the packaging looks really cute. I think the colors look beautiful. I like this idea of more of a pinky or berry palette. That's how I prefer to wear warm shadows, as opposed to maybe that orangey red. Don't get me wrong, I'll wear orangey rusty colors too, but if I were going to choose, I would go a little bit more in this direction as it relates to warm shadows. So it's going to be $54, just like every other Naked palette that's come out. It's coming out sometime September, October. We don't have an exact release date yet, but I'm pretty excited for this one. I will probably wait for this to show up at Ulta and use some of my Ulta points to pick this puppy up. I'm kind of hoping that I can get to 2,000 points and wait for a 20% off deal at Ulta for prestige products too rather, and then kind of combine those two things together and pick this up. That is what I am thinking. The other palette, I think, is their answer to a holiday palette. So this is the Elements palette. We don't know exactly how much this is going to cost. It's in a beautiful round container. The packaging is absolutely stunning. It looks like it's kind of a glittery background around the shades themselves. If we do a close-up of kind of the colors, you can see you've got a full spectrum of colors here, which I think is really kind of cool. You do have a handful of mattes thrown in, but I will say the majority of the shades look shimmery. They've kind of retired the Vice palettes that they used to do at holiday. I haven't seen those now for a couple of years, so this to me is looking like their holiday palette. I was a little worried about how big it was going to be, if it was going to be some enormously sized palette that none of us could store. I found a girl holding it up and you can actually see, I think it's a decently sized palette. It's not too big, nor is it too tiny to make the eyeshadows just like itty bitty and almost not worth our money. I'm kind of torn on this one. On one hand, I think, okay, there's a lot of fun colors in here. It's got a full spectrum of interesting pinks and blues and greens and browns, and you could probably make some amazing looks with this, but I feel like I'm gonna have to see it in person and swatch it in person to decide, is it something that I'm really going to love? Am I gonna get a lot of use out of this? Because in my head, I can already think, I've got neutral palettes, I've got bright palettes. This could be a lot of fun to work with, but I don't necessarily think this is going to be 100% unique in my collection from a color perspective. So this is one where you guys are probably wanting reviews on it to determine if you want to purchase it. I'm kind of in that same boat. I think I'm going to wait for those first initial reviews to come out, see some live swatches, and see how people are responding to it. Go into a store, touch it, feel it, and then kind of make a decision on it. But I will say I'm probably more interested in the Naked Cherry palette than I am the Elements palette at this point, just based on my own personal preference for wearing shadows. So Too Faced has another sort of mini collection we need to talk about. So the Tutti Frutti collection came out. We talked about that in my last coffee chat. This one is a peaches and cream sort of expansion. This is going to be exclusive to Sephora. So the Tutti Frutti collection is exclusive to Ulta. This is kind of the answer that they've given Sephora to some unique products that they can carry. So the peaches and cream, peaches sweet fig kind of collection, that has all been exclusive to Sephora. So we're going to see a face and eye palette, a lip scrub, a lip balm, and then some matte lipsticks. These are going to be out on September 4th on Sephora's website. Now, the lip balm and the lip scrub, they don't really interest me. I have lip balms that I like. I like the lip scrub that is the little e.l.f. one that's in the lipstick bullet. I think it's phenomenal. I feel like when that product is $3, it's going to be hard for me to ever want to spend up for a different lip scrub. So I'm not so interested in those two products. The lipsticks themselves look really pretty. We have some swatches now, so you can see kind of all of the pinky nude tones that are out here. Unless the formula and the colors are just so unique, I feel like I'm probably going to pass over these because there's other lipstick formulas that I'm more interested in collecting / having in my collection. So I don't know, not necessarily interested in this. As it relates to the face and eye palette, we have some swatches and some close-ups to go along with this now. So you can see that Peach Pearl is a new highlighter. It looks really, really pretty. This looks like it's something I would absolutely love. Peach Honey, it's down on the bottom left-hand corner. I thought that was going to be a bronzer. It actually looks like a glowy peach blush. Then the upper right-hand corner is something called Sugared Peach. I don't really love glitter particles in my blush or any face product for that matter. So, and then the shade Peach Pop looks like a beautiful pinky blush that has some nice sort of peachy shift to it. So I think this might actually be a 4-pan palette that in theory might work for me if that Sugared Peach shade is not as glittery as it appears to be in the photo that I found. I'm gonna need to see this one in stores. For $42, it feels a little higher than I want to spend for a face palette. I don't necessarily feel like I need this in my life. So if you're asking me today would I purchase this, I would say no. But it's definitely one that when I'm in Sephora, I'm gonna go look at and swatch on my arm and kind of, if I fall in love with it there, and if I feel like I could wear all 4 shades, I might be persuaded to pick this up in the Sephora sale later this year. but I'm not like stampeding to go get it. All right, let's talk about a new foundation. So Makeup Revolution, or Revolution Makeup, whatever they're calling themselves nowadays, is launching a full coverage foundation. It's going to be $12. It's going to come with 24 shades initially. If it's like their concealer, they will fast follow with additional shades. That's what they did when they first launched their full coverage concealer. I do really enjoy that concealer. I think it's a phenomenal drugstore concealer, probably in my top 5. Huge, great shade range here. So I don't typically love full coverage foundations. I have done a lot of searching to see if I could get a description over whether or not this is going to be matte or satin or natural finish, or what the finish of this foundation was going to be. If it's matte, I'm probably going to skip it. It's not something that I would totally love. If this is going to be a sort of satin or natural finish full cover foundation, I might try it, because it's going to come with a little doe foot applicator to kind of dot it around on your skin, which means you could probably precisely apply a very thin layer all over your skin. And if I can get it to be more of a medium coverage or look natural on my skin, I might be interested in that. For $12, I think it's definitely a great price point. It's launching September 5th on the Makeup Revolution website. I'm not sure if that means that's the day it's going to launch at Ulta as well, or if it'll come a month or so later. We don't have swatches yet. I have at least not been able to find swatches. We've seen some close-ups of kind of the bottles all laid out there on the screen. The bottles look beautiful. The other thing I wanted to call out is that they're doing a supersized concealer. So they're going to take their concealer as it is today and basically triple the amount of product inside of it, and then basically only double the price, at least according to what I've read on Adam Minto's Instagram page. He is the owner of Makeup Revolution. He's basically said there's 3 times the product in their supersize concealer, and they're only going to double the cost of the price. So definitely huge value. If you're somebody who loves that concealer, it's the only concealer you ever want to use, you go through concealer quickly, that is going to be probably the best value for you at the drugstore, period. So I'm excited to see this one launch. Now let's talk about some Fenty. So Fenty is launching 2 new products. So they're launching a Diamond Bomb highlighter, but they're calling this a jelly powder formula that gives you a colorless, ultra sparkly sheen. This is launching on September 7th at Sephora. I do have some swatches I want to show you here in a bit as we talk about the second product, but we do have some close-ups of the product itself. It looks beautiful. It looks like a light white pearly color. I have not actually purchased any Fenty highlighters. I never felt like the tones were right for me. I didn't really care for the little duo pans. I didn't feel like there was one that I was just drawn towards. This one has me pretty interested, but I'm also a little nervous that it might be really glittery because they even call it a sparkly sheen. So this is definitely one that is going to require some in-store swatching. The second product they're launching is their Diamond Milk Gloss Bomb. I love the original Fenty Gloss Bomb. It's beautiful. The undertone is amazing. It really is the most universally flattering lip gloss I've ever used. And there's so much product in here that at $17, the cost per ounce of the original Fenty Gloss Bomb is like cheaper than most drugstore. Like we're talking e.l.f. style pricing when you look at it at a price per ounce perspective. So insane value for the Fenty Gloss Bomb. I love it. This pearly diamond milk one looks really, really beautiful. They're saying it's going to be the same formula as the original Gloss Bomb, which I love. It's not sticky. It just adds a nice gloss to your lips. It's got a gel texture to it. Here we can see a close-up of both the product itself as well as a swatch of the Diamond Milk Lip Gloss and the Diamond Bomb highlighter. This swatch actually gives me hope that the Diamond Bomb highlighter is going to be something that is not super glittery. It looks just very pearly and light. I don't know, that swatch gives me all the feels. I am really excited for this product, and I honestly think I will probably pick up the Diamond Milk as well because I just think it's such a great value and I love the formula so much. The packaging is adorable, so I kind of have my eye on both of these, but like I said, I definitely want to swatch that highlighter in stores to make sure that it isn't super glittery. If it is, I will probably skip it. From really expensive highlighter to a really affordable highlighter, Wet n Wild is coming out with some new highlighting metal bars. These are going to be $4.99. They're popping up in Walgreens now. Interesting to see them come back and add 3 new shades. So we have a bronze bar now, the original gold bar, we've got a rose gold bar, and then the one that I'm excited about, platinum bar. The swatches that I've seen out there right now are kind of blurry and weird, so I'm showing them because it's the best I can find. The Platinum Bar, it's either going to be very white or very gold. I can't quite tell from these swatches in these photos. The photo in the store there makes me think that it's got a strong gold undertone to it, which, okay, fine. These are gold bar highlighters. I guess maybe if the light shade has a gold undertone, I can't fault Wet n Wild for that, but part of me is hoping that it looks a little bit more like the first photo that I showed you guys, where it was more of a white highlight versus something that is light with a really strong gold reflect. Wet n Wild, man, they are just releasing products left and freaking right. So I really appreciate these cheaper, more affordable brands coming out with products left and right at a really phenomenal price point. All right, guys, so that wraps us up for everything for this week's coffee chat. Let me know down in the comments below what you think about any of these products. Are these things you're interested in? What else has been catching your eye lately? I always love to have conversations with you guys down below about products that have caught your eye. I hope you guys are having an absolutely amazing day. Look forward to talking to you soon. Bye.